It's free agency day if you're an NBA fan. It's Valkyries day. If you've been following the Valkyries, every day's Valkyries day. This team is smoking, Sophia. You picked a hell of a good job to sign up for. Color analyst for a franchise that debuted this season, and they're already kicking ass. Are you pumped? What's the vibe in these Valkyrie games at Chase Center? I imagine it's incredible.
I really can't describe it. I think the best way I can put it is the fans just feel a lot more positive and passionate than going to like any other NBA game, other than maybe like a Warriors playoff game, I could really say.
For good reason. For good
Exactly.
reason. This is fun basketball. It's winning basketball. And it's at Chase Center. I love the fact they call, I think, is it technically they're calling Thrive City Valhalla, or is it just the whole thing is Valhalla?
We're calling like Chase Center Valhalla. Yeah.
It's just brilliant. Everything about it. The name, all the gimmicks I'm buying into it. It's just they're winning. The product is entertaining. And we're obviously going to talk about the Golden State Warriors as well, because again, free agency starts today. And we're going to start the show playing a clip from Draymond Green, which I think perfectly encapsulates where we are with NBA free agency in the year 2025. Sophia Jones is with me. She's the color analyst for your Golden State Valkyries. I'm Cyrus Saatsaz. I'm just some dude with two thumbs pointed his way who likes to talk Warriors. And this is Golden State.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. Leave me alone this summer.
Let's go. In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up.
WNBA playoffs. Welcome to Golden Days, the V for Valkyries edition. I will get quotation marks around that V. I promise. I'm working on it, Sophia. And Sophia Jones joins me every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific time for V for Valkyries. She's the color analyst for your Valks. You can follow her on Twitter at Sophia Jones_2. You can follow me, Cyrus Saatsaz, on Threads and Instagram at Dog Wild. Over on Twitter, it's at Surf Journalist. I said Dog Wild, yes. And the program's on both platforms at Golden Days Pod. We're going to cover NBA free agency. Today is the official start of that. Matt Brotherton calling it free agency day, and rightfully so. And I'm going to change the font while I'm on that tip because for some reason the system always makes me redo it. And it is happy free agency day, although the word happy might depend on who you ask. Armando Lara's in the chat saying, what's up, a Golden Dazer. OMG Manny saying, hello, everyone. I haven't heard from you, Manny, in a little while. Good to see you. Empire bringing up Al Horford, who we'll talk about in just a second. Anthony Slater reporting, speculating, maybe the more accurate term there, that the Warriors are interested in Al Horford, and certainly he fits a type that they're interested in, a stretch five. But let's quickly start with the Valkyries, because that season's actually on right now, and we joined you the afternoon following the Valkyries with a dominating performance. Sophia, I figured out the KPIX Plus channel, how to find that. So I'm all set up for watching the Valkyries on TV. If I happen to be driving around when they're playing, I catch you on the radio broadcast, the 95.7 The Game, where you and Kevin Dana are not just doing the in-game call, but you also have the 30-minute, give or take, post-game show where you recap the action. And so if I'm driving around, I'm immediately tuning to 95.7 The Game. You're also available on the Odyssey app. But give us a recap to start off before we get to our sponsors here of the Valkyries this past week. They're now 9-7. They didn't have a perfect week. I believe they lost one game there, maybe two. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I'm looking at the standings right now, and the Valkyries are 9-7. They're 2 games above 500. Only 6 teams in the WNBA are above 500. The Valkyries are one of those teams. What is going on here, Sophia? Why and how are the Valkyries so good so soon? Great to see you.
Great to see you too. I just really think that it's just there's so much bought in at all different levels from the front office, the coaching staff, to the players. I think everyone is just so excited, and they're pouring so much heart and passion into seeing the Valkyries succeed. And that's where it's really working. I mean, we beat Seattle yesterday. We blew out Seattle. They have an all-star starter on their team, Neko Agumake, and probably 2 other all-stars with Gabby Williams and Skylar Diggins. And they wiped the floor with the Storm, who are the 5th seed in the whole entire WNBA. So I just think that there's been some type of magic that has really been working for the team. And yeah, every single time I watch them play, I'm just impressed with how much heart they play with. I think you're muted.
Thank you for that. Yeah, they care, and in a lot of ways, I think it starts with their head coach, Natalie Nakase, who has just done a masterful job. And why don't we start the show with a clip from the head coach, because she was asked by a beat reporter. What's his name again? I haven't memorized it yet, but I told you who it is.
Kenzo.
Do you remember?
I forget the last name, but I know it's Kenzo of Clutch Points.
Of Clutch Points, yes.
Yeah.
And he's, I believe, a relatively new member of Clutch Points, covering both the Valkyries and the Warriors. Kenzo Fukuda posted this clip on his Twitter account, at Kenzo Fuku. And here's the clip. This was Natalie Nakase after last night's game, just being asked about what is going on here. Like, why are they so good as a franchise that's just 3 months old? It's not the norm. They're exceeding expectations. They're overachieving. The question asked was why? And here is the head coach of a very successful Valkyries team so far this early in their conception, explaining her reasoning for a relatively fantastic job.
Up there with a 9-17, you just beat Seattle in a really dominant way. You've got some big wins. I know you expect to win, but did you expect to be sitting here in this position at this point through 16 games?
I want to come off as humble as possible, but at the same time, I know what these players have done for 3 months, and that they work their asses off or tails off. They work extremely hard. So it's so funny. I was talking to my coaching staff today, like, and we're lucky because every time we go through walkthrough or we go through a practice, they are loud, they're screaming, they're communicating. Like, rarely am I saying, hey, we need more effort in practice. That's them, you know? So we're lucky as coaches that we have players that are coachable, that players that go hard every shoot around and every practice, even film session, they are locked in, they ask questions. So, I'm just honestly, I'm grateful just to be their head coach because I have all coachable players.
Is it that simple, Sophia? Does it just come down to coachable players? What's your reaction to? And sorry about the audio levels there. Hit the rewind button and crank it up if you missed that the first time. That was head coach Natalie Nakase at the press conference last night following the team's dominating victory. Yeah, your reaction to Coach Nakase's comments?
I really do think it has a lot to do with coachable players, and I love that she's giving so much credit to her players. But the coaching staff in themselves, I think it has been really just doing their thing. Coach Nakase said it pregame before the matchup against the Storm yesterday that the front office, and she brought these players here and she just wants them to be themselves. And it's her job as a coach to bring out their strengths and just instill that confidence in them. So you're not seeing the results that the Valkyries have right now if the coaching staff and the organization isn't pouring into them, accepting them for who they are, and just instilling that confidence. Like I said, they have the mentality, they say, let it fly, where every single time there's an open three, an open shot, a quality shot, she wants them to take it regardless. Like if it's your shot, shoot it. I think 1 through 5, everyone on the team has gotten up these threes. And I just really think that it's a lot of buy-in from just all these levels, front office, coaching staff, players, where they're just really like pouring their heart into seeing this organization succeed.
And the results are showing. And we're going to have a lot more to discuss regarding the Valkyries. Obviously, today's day one of NBA free agency. And when you hear this clip I'm going to play in just a minute of Draymond Green, you may understand why the news has been lackluster. The hype has been underwhelming in terms of NBA free agency and the news or lack thereof coming out. A huge reason is the Brooklyn Nets being one of the only teams in the NBA, I think literally the only team in the NBA with substantial cap space. Every other team is pushing up against that second apron or the first aprons. You got aprons to worry about. And Draymond Green, maybe a too little too late type of commentary relating to the impact of that second apron and the fact that it serves basically as a hard cap is the reason why. The NBA Players Union, so whatever their official title is, they've done a great job bungling this deal because you're not going to see a lot of freedom from players. Movement is going to be limited. Jonathan Kuminga is in a very awkward position right now, and so are the Warriors because of this. We're going to talk about that and so much more after we give some love to our sponsors. I want to do one more thing before we even do that, though, Sophia. And the program director of 95.7 The Game, I believe his name is Matt Nahigian, he posted this audio clip, which I got to share with the audience. And I think I texted you and your dad this as well. I know you're not in this clip that much, Sophia. I think this highlights a lot more your colleague, your partner in crime with these broadcasts, Kevin Dana. This was a call and then some. I've listened to Kevin call Warriors games, call Santa Cruz Warriors games, and I've never heard anything like this. I think the audience will enjoy this. I hope you do. This is Kevin Dana, the play-by-play radio voice for the Golden State Valkyries, alongside Sophia Jones, the radio color analyst for the Golden State Valkyries. And this was just a clip, not from the game last night against the Storm. I forgot who they played. What was the game that they won at the very end, the close one? Was it New York?
If it was recent, it would have been the Chicago Sky.
This was the game. Yes, yeah. Thank you. This was against Angel Reese, who's Chicago Sky, Haley Van Lith, all the players on that team. They were in town at Chase Center, and the Valkyries won a very tight one, a thriller at Chase, a.k.a. Valhalla. And here was the call, which was wild.
Martin across half on the right side. Sizing up Ariel Atkins. Gets a screen from Billings. Launches a three.
From the same spot. Can't go under the screens on Kate.
69-64. Reese left wing. For Allen reversing right side. It's an 8-0 Valkyries run. Van Lith. In and out dribble, setting up Reese. Left baseline drive, strong take to the hole, but misses the shot. Thornton in transition the other way, off the rebound with Atkins to beat. The Hierro step into a finger off the glass. 71-64. Caleb Thornton, a career high 25. Timeout, says Tyler Marsh. This place is on fire.
I didn't know, that Kevin Dana can roll his R's. He did it masterfully. That is not something that you could just normally do instinctually without prep. Fantastic. Dude, that was awesome. I've never heard that. That was a level I've never heard Kevin Dana reach. What was your reaction? Is he like this all broadcast? Like, what's going on?
He is. And you know what? I'll give a shout out to Kevin because I think he's mentioned he has some Italian in him, kind of why you can hear the Spanish rolling R's.
Yes.
But I don't know if he majored or minored in it, but he either majored and minored in Spanish in university. So he's actually like multilingual. So if you listen to the broadcast, he actually throws a lot of different stuff. Sometimes that kind of goes over my head, but I've heard him speak French as well because we have a couple French players, but that's just the type of environment that Valhalla has created. I think there were several of those types of calls last game where just it felt like the energy in the building was just about to go throughout the entire city of San Francisco.
Oh, dude, Kevin Dana is fantastic at his job. So are you. That was a hilarious call, a wild call. I think captured the mood of the arena and all their celebration. And we've got a lot more to discuss. Again, we barely touched on the Warriors yet. We're going to obviously talk more about the Valkyries. There's an all-star game in the WNBA coming up. The Valkyries themselves made some roster moves that we need to discuss. The personnel are coming and going with this team. It's been a fluid situation there. But before we do all that, we got to give some love to our sponsors. Got two of those for the afternoon. First up is Decades, a cover band. I'm sure you're familiar with them by now. If you're a regular Golden Days, or if you're a regular of this program in terms of the audience members, you've heard us mentioning this cover band. They're called Decades, and they're playing music for you all summer, whether the event is a wedding, whether it's an anniversary, whether it's a birthday, maybe it's some sort of corporate fundraiser where you just need live music for your event. And again, the weather is beautiful right now. It's warm, everyone's outdoors. So why not, if you are hosting an event that needs some live music, that needs a little prestige worldwide to kick up your Catalina wine mixer to that next level, check out Decades. Go to decadesofficial.com to check out the website. You can also follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Decades Official. You can also email Kyle at atomicmusicgroup.com. Again, Kyle at atomicmusicgroup.com to book a band that plays everything from the 50s today, from Chuck Berry to Katy Perry. They're locals. They're from Chico. They're huge local sports fans. They play every Niners pregame show next door to Levi at Great America. They're the band for the Red Zone rallies. They also got hired by Eddie D to play a private set at his compound in Montana, and they're available for you. One more time, decadesofficial.com is the website to go check out their music, what they're about. Definitely book them if you need live music. You can also mention us and get a discount, and thank us later if you do so, because you will be doing that, I promise. They are a phenomenal band. This is their full-time job. If they're making a full-time living, 5 of them doing this, they're doing something right. Hire them today and thank us later. Today's episode also brought to you by BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform, where you can bet, fortunately, thankfully, on WNBA action. It's part of the whole gamut of options to choose from when you go to the website. You could bet on WNBA, you could bet on Major League Baseball, UFC, tennis, golf. They've even got a Vegas casino style thing set up there where you can go in and play blackjack. You can play the slots. It's set up beautifully for you. It's the world's most trusted betting platform. Your money is safe with them. We've been sponsoring them for a large number of years, so go check them out. Have some fun. Bet online. The game starts here. And back to the program. I want to play this clip, Sophia, of Draymond Green. This was on his weekly podcast, The Draymond Green Show. And I want to play this clip because it captures what we're about to experience ourselves consuming free agency, consuming all the player movement, all the speculation. This will be a slow year, and it's largely because of this new CBA. And if you have an opinion on that as well, Sophia, please do share it. But let's hear this clip from Draymond Green again with Baron Davis, one former Warriors legend, one current Warriors legend. They host a show together each week, and here they are talking about the CBA and why the players are essentially screwed under this current scenario. Here is Draymond and Baron.
The Celtics also traded Kristaps Porzingis. Listen, this is all about the second April. People said they didn't want super teams anymore. Well, here you have it. All these moves are being made to dodge that second April. It's a hard cap. You lose draft picks. You lose the mid-level exception. You lose roster spots. You lose the ability to get better and compete as a team. And the amount of money that you lose is insane. And when I said this, before the deal was signed, this is ridiculous, and it's going to hurt players in the end. No one wanted to listen, and everybody wanted to act like the PA was making a great deal. The PA made a shit deal, as the PA has done for years now. And every year, the pot gets bigger, and the business gets better, and the players get screwed more. That's just how this business works. Back to the Boston Celtics, that's what all of these moves are about, people. That's why they got rid of Porzingis. That's why they got rid of Jrue Holiday. That's why you're hearing so many people call on Jaylen Brown. You're hearing so many people call on Derek White. It's because they know they want to get away from that second April tax. You trade for Anthony Simons, I think, listen, they're the Boston Celtics. They got to be competitive, but at the end of the day, it's an expiring deal, cap situation, all of those things.
So that's Draymond Green spelling. And again, if he's been saying this for years, and I'm not denying that he has, why were you not actually doing something about it? Draymond's one of the few people in a position to make change, to actually affect this thing. His agent is Rich Paul of Clutch, who have a lot of clients. I'm borderline shocked that he's expressing these sentiments, and yet the majority of the players agree to this deal. Which again, why is my question? Are you that afraid of a potential strike? Do you think the owners have that much power over you. They don't in news check. It's crazy to me. And we're in the situation now where, yes, the second apron is very punitive. Teams don't want to get into that position. You're in danger of losing draft picks. You're in danger. Well, it's not danger. You literally are no longer eligible for either of the mid-level exceptions if you're in the second apron. And that's one of the most restrictive things about it. It sucks. And one of the players who I feel like is struggling the most because of it is Jonathan Kuminga. Who the latest reports are that the Warriors are basically sitting back and waiting to see what the market dictates for Kuminga. They basically are daring him to sign a contract with another team, and then they're just going to either match it or then explore a sign and trade. But they have all the leverage because, again, they can match the contract. It's crazy. I've been talking a lot, Sophia. Forgive me for that. I'll let you step in now. Your thoughts on Draymond's on Draymond's comments and Kuminga and the Warriors situation here on day one of free agency.
Just with Draymond's comments, I feel like he kind of put it or articulated it well and how the second apron is affecting these teams and kind of what it will do. I'm also in agreement with you. If it's looking like it's going to be a really bad thing now, and Draymond has been a strong dissent to it for a while now, I'm not sure why there are so many people on board. Not sure about that, but
I'm with you. I don't get it either. Yeah.
And then just with Jonathan Kuminga, with that second apron, it makes me feel it gives me that impression that we're really not going to see a ton of moves and blockbuster things done in general. And I think that's kind of maybe the trend that Jonathan Kuminga is headed down, where the Warriors might just try to match a contract or like sign and trade, but it just sounds like it's really hard to navigate this second apron because of how detrimental it can be to a team's future.
Yeah, and only one team has serious space right now, and that's the Brooklyn Nets, a squad who, side note, Sean Marks still being in charge there. The only explanation I have for that is him and the owner are just like lockstep, meaning the owner is really calling all the shots, and he just has his right-hand man being the face for all these decisions, because using 5 first-round picks is wild. The players they selected, kind of crazy. With all that said, they're the only team that has the cap space to offer Kuminga what he wants. The maximum amount, if my information is correct, that Kuminga can get this upcoming season is $30 million. So what my guess is, in terms of the front office's thinking, is the Warriors are currently at about $170 million. They're likely going to go up to the second apron, which is going to be approximately $209 million. And so the gist that I'm getting here is that the Warriors are planning for a worst case scenario where another team maybe does offer Kuminga that max amount, right? Which is $30 million a year, and then he can make more than that with each ensuing year. Because if that happens, then the Warriors are at let's say Kuminga gets offered at hypothetically the biggest amount possible, $30 million a year for year one. The long-term deal doesn't matter for this season. So the Warriors would be salary-wise at approximately $200 million and change in terms of their team and how much they're spending. The second apron is $207.8 million. So what the Warriors are going to be able to use in terms of free agency here is the lower of the 2 mid-level exceptions. It's called the taxpayer exception, and that amount is $5.6 million. So regardless of how much you pay Kuminga, you're going to be able to use that mid-level exception. And my guess for what the Warriors' strategy here is they're going to pursue free agents using that mid-level exception. Unfortunately for them, they only have the taxpayer available to them and not the full mid-level, which is up to like 14-15 million. And that's the amount a team like the Lakers has. I bring them up because one player that I personally selfishly want to come back to the Warriors is DeAnthony Melton. DeAnthony Melton right now is reportedly also drawing interest from teams like the Lakers, and the Lakers have the larger mid-level exception they can use to sign DeAnthony Melton, which is again around 14-15 million. The Warriors only have the weaker of the 2 mid-level exceptions, and that's for 5.6 million. And with 5.6 million, maybe you can get an Al Horford, maybe you can get a Brook Lopez. I don't know what DeAnthony Melton's price is going to be. He made just shy of $13 million last year before he had the ACL injury. I don't know what he's going to get this season. I don't know if my dream is going to become a reality, because getting DeAnthony Melton and a player like Horford or Brook Lopez, to me, is all you need. If you do that and you get Kuminga back, you're fine. I'm feeling great about this upcoming season, but that's just me. And that kind of spells out where everything is in terms of the salary cap, in terms of where the Warriors are. It's a waiting game. They're daring Kuminga to get this big deal. I don't think there's a chance in hell he's going to come back for the qualifying offer, which is, I believe, is like $8 million. That if he accepts that, he'd be an unrestricted free agent next season, but you're putting your fate back in the hands of Steve Kerr. And something tells me he's not going to be okay with that. I think Kuminga wants a bigger deal now. That would be my guess for all of this. Any thoughts you have about Kuminga and the Warriors in terms of where they're at in this current point?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you where I think if the Warriors just add like kind of that one or two more pieces, similar to a level of just like solid role players. Sorry, I have on Sports Center right now, and it looks
What's
like
breaking? What happened?
Dorian Finney-Smith was acquired by the Rockets.
Damn, Houston did good this offseason.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, I got another piece of, I don't know if you're seeing this on your TV as well. Another player that a lot of Warriors fans were dreaming about, and I tried to bring reality to this, but now the reality is setting in for any of you dreaming and aspiring for Jaren Jackson Jr. being traded to the Warriors. He is signing a 5-year, $240 million maximum deal to stay with the Memphis Grizzlies. So that trade is now, that ship has sailed in terms of Jaren Jackson Jr. And as you mentioned, Dorian Finney-Smith is now with the Houston Rockets. I'm still a little bitter that the Warriors, although in hindsight, I guess you would not have gotten Jimmy Butler, but I like when the Warriors traded for Dennis Schroeder. I don't know if you folks remember that trade once upon a time. Feels like a lifetime ago. It was just 6 months ago. Dorian Finney-Smith, excuse me, was also an option. And I'm still puzzled and baffled that the Warriors chose Dennis Schroeder over Dorian Finney-Smith. I digress. Anything else you're seeing on your television, by the way?
No, nothing now. I just kind of going back to my point though before I got myself distracted. I think if the Warriors just, I think if the Warriors can just add, like they don't need any more superstars at this point. I think you just need some very solid role players. So, I mean, getting maybe another solid backcourt player, I would like someone a little bit more younger than a DeAnthony Melton personally. And then that center, just getting some inside size is something I've been saying for the longest. I wouldn't be opposed to a Brook Lopez or Al Horford. Same. But this is amount, but not for a hefty price tag. But I do like the idea of having some size. Maybe a little bit. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Brook Lopez, just because I think he is bigger and he can kind of be able to compete with like the Jokic's a little bit more down low. But that's me.
You're also like, I think you're 2 years younger if you get Brook Lopez instead of Al Horford as well.
Yeah.
We shall see. And again, we got some more, another signing, as you mentioned. Oh man, these are starting to trickle down hard. So we'll break all these during the show as they come in. If there's anything Warriors related, we'll either break the news on this episode or I'll get another one going very soon. But these items are going to be trickling in. I wish we had a news ticker. I could scroll these through. Salty Aldama has agreed to a 3-year, $52.5 million deal to return to the Memphis Grizzlies. So Memphis is setting their roster up pretty nicely there. As you mentioned, Dorian Finney-Smith, I have the total here, 4 years, $53 million to sign with the Houston Rockets. And then Paul Reed, I forgot who he played for last year. Was it Philly? He agreed, who was he with? Denver? I forgot what. Anyways, Paul Reed has agreed to a 2-year, $11 million deal. Oh, he was with the Pistons. He's going back to Detroit. So, and those numbers are interesting. If Paul Reed is getting 2 years, $11 million, that does not bode well for the Warriors in their dreams of Al Horford or Brook Lopez. Because if I'm seeing a player like Paul Reed getting $5.5 million a year, that would be the entirety of the Warriors mid-level exception. for Reed. And something tells me Brooke Lopez and Al Horford are going to have higher value. I could be wrong with that, but I don't like how this is trending. That's what I'll say so far. What do you think?
Yeah, you know what? It makes me think about how Coach Nakase for the Valkyries said that Steve Kerr was a little bit of a mentor for her and kind of gave her some advice, just being under the Golden State umbrella.
Yeah.
I hope it's a two-way street because I really do think that Coach Nakase has done so much with the roster and the group of players and just getting everyone to show up on like any given night. So I feel like the Warriors could use a little bit of that too.
I agree. Good call on that. That's great advice. And again, if anything happens in regards to the Warriors, we'll either again talk about it right now or I'll launch another episode because the ticker's starting to fill up here slowly. Again, Jordan Clarkson is going to get a buyout. This is kind of old news now. DeAndre Ayton, this was reported yesterday. He's going to get a buyout, so he'll be an unrestricted free agency. I'm very unrestricted free agent. I'm very curious to see where he ends up. Jordan Clarkson of the Utah Jazz, another player that got bought out. I don't know if he would be a good fit for the Warriors. DeAndre Ayton, I mean, talent-wise, hell yes, but I just don't know if fit-wise, if he's the type of player that Kerr would have the patience for because he ain't easy. He is not an easy player to manage. I think he's proven that. Armando Laura in the chat mentioning if the Warriors trade Kuminga for a Steve Kerr role player, that team is not making the playoffs. Look, I do think Kuminga is coming back. I'm not overly worried about that. What I hope is that he gets the type of money that'll make him happy. I just want everyone happy. You need everyone on your team happy if you're going to win championships. Like what was going down last year where, you DNP one of your best players in such pivotal situations. That is not a recipe for long-term success. That's just my opinion. But, you want everyone on the same page. You want your roster full of players who are content, who are happy to be there, who want to be a part of this. So that's what I'm hoping for above all else. If you get a happy Kuminga and if you get a good relationship with him and Kerr, that's going to translate to positivity and success on a basketball court. That's all I want. And call me crazy otherwise. Any other NBA Warriors news you want to touch on before we go back to the Valkyries?
I haven't seen anything, so no.
Yeah. And we'll get to the chat. I know there's a couple questions pertaining more to the Valkyries there who are getting a lot of attention, and rightfully so, because they're kicking ass. They're playing a brand of ball that's fun. It's entertaining watching the Valkyries play. And that's an important variable that doesn't necessarily translate to success winning wise, but I think it does matter, right? You want the fans to be engaged. You want them to be watching the product that you're putting out there and enjoying it. And you're getting both. You have an entertaining product, and they're 9-7 right now, and they're beating good teams as well. It's not just them beating bad teams. This is beautiful. Are we shifting? Yeah, I guess we're shifting back to the Valkyries.
Yeah.
Are we talking more Valks? You ready?
Yeah, and you know what? I'll actually take on what you said, just with kind of the fun brand of basketball that the Valkyries really play. The head coach for the Seattle Storm, Noel Quinn, touched on it pregame yesterday, where the style of play that the Valkyries have in combination with the Chase Center crowd, she said that they can make it. If the Valkyries are 2 for 10 on three-pointers, they make one. And she said that the crowd can make it feel like they're 10 for 10.
That's beautiful.
And I think that's just like a testament to the crowd, but also kind of to like the players, because they shoot every single shot like they're going to make it as well. Just kind of going into that fun brand of basketball.
Absolutely. Absolutely right. And I want to push back here on Bruce Morrow real fast, who writes that Kuminga wants to be a top dog. He will not be back. I hope I'm wrong here. Look, the Warriors have complete control over this. He's a restricted free agent. They can match what he's making and bring it back. And again, the Warriors front office, I have faith in them. They are very smart and they're realistic in terms of understanding what value players have. Kuminga is an insanely valuable asset. You don't just let him go. That is not prudent. That doesn't represent high acumen basketball decisions. So I don't think he's going to go. I also don't think he wants to be the quote unquote top dog. I think what he wants is just some sort of clear messaging in terms of his role. And he does want to be a starter. He doesn't want to be one of the top dogs. I wouldn't push back on that. But to be the top dog, I think Kuminga is very aware that this is Steph's team. He just wants to help more. And I don't blame him. He has the tools. He's one of the best players on the team. I don't blame him for that. I don't think he selfishly wants to be like the guy. I think he just wants an opportunity to actually play. Bruce Morrow, and correct me, Sophia, if you think I'm wrong on any of this. Bruce Morrow also adding, and this is a good Valkyries seg here, Chen replacing Julie Van Loo. You texted me before we started the show that the Valkyries made some personnel decisions. And Julie Van Loo, who played a big role in the season opener, I remember, is now no longer with the team. That is not the only transaction that took place. Take it away, Sophia. What do the current Golden State Valkyries look like?
Yeah, so roster updates, and this is all from today as well. And it all happened today because the Valkyries don't have another game until Saturday. It's the Commissioner's Cup break, which is a WNBA in-season tournament. And yesterday is also when Eurobasket ended. And just to kind of recap that as well, I guess.
Please.
Belgium won. So Belgium was with Julie Van Loo and former Valkyrie Kiki Linskins. So very, very happy for them that they won. Second place was Spain. Third place was Italy. On Italy's team is Cecilia Zendolazini for the Valkyries. So
good job pronouncing that name. Very good job.
Thank you. It's actually one of my favorite names to say. It just rolls off
it
the
didn't
tongue
sound
so
easy
nice.
either. That was like 5-6 syllables there. So kudos.
And Cecilia, nicknamed Chechi, so that's just what I'm going to say from now on. Chechi got first team for Eurobasket, so very happy and proud of her for that. And Julie Van Loo, she also got second team. And then France finished fourth place, which is a little bit surprising, I think, to most people. And so the Valkyries on that team have Janelle Salon, and they have the rights to Ileana Rupert. And Ileana Rupert, they have the rights for her for this season and the next one. They haven't made any indication that they've officially signed her. But this is where I'll go into some of the roster updates.
And is KS right, by the way, that Van Loo was waived for Chen? Do you think that's a fair statement or no?
I think it's kind of fair.
There's multiple pieces. So would you agree it's not accurate in the sense that one for one maybe wouldn't be the right way to put it?
I don't think it was just that singular transaction that everyone was looking at. So some of the roster moves have been the Valkyries waived forward Chloe Bibby. They waived guard Bree Hall. And then they waived Julie Van Loo. So these are all the waivings that occurred today. And roster updates, officially, they've reactivated Chechi and Janelle. So that leaves, with this current roster, it fills out the 12-person roster. But where it could potentially get complicated is if the Valkyries decide to sign Ileana Rupert from France. She was competing in Eurobasket. She's been overseas the whole season, so there just hasn't been much time for that. She hasn't been a part of the team at any point this season, but she's a big. She would offer some really nice size for the Valkyries. But then you also look at the group that has been winning all these games, and she hasn't been on that squad. So, like I say, just the transaction between Julie and Caitlin Chen, I don't think it was just kind of one-on-one. I think there are definitely multiple layers in consideration on who they wanted to keep. I mean, Caitlin's been Julie. I'll start with Julie. Julie did really, really well for the team. I felt like she was really finding her groove, especially with her assists and playmaking. She has great range, great handles, great vision. So really loved her. And then with Caitlin Chen in this recent stretch, she's just been a dog. She's been extremely gritty. She's been making some really tough baskets. I think every time she makes a basket, it's one of the loudest crowd bursts that you'll hear in Valhalla.
Nice.
She plays solid defense as well. So it's kind of like comparing apples and oranges, and you don't really want to do that all the time, which just stinks because you want to root for all these players. But the current state of the Valkyries is here. I guess I can just go through the whole current roster. Carla Late, who she is another, she's been out recently with a back injury. I actually saw her at breakfast the other day. But
Oh, nice. Just randomly bumped into her?
Yeah, just randomly.
That's living in the city. Yeah, that's life.
Yeah, but she seems to be doing well. And then, so Carla Late, Caitlin Chan, Leticia Amihir, who she's been playing outstanding for the Valkyries. She was one that they had in training camp that they brought back.
Last time we had a show, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So she was in training camp, got waived, and then was re-signed because of these Eurobasket departures. But she's really been doing so well. I actually talked to Dawn Staley pregame yesterday. Yeah, it's because she had a couple of former players from South Carolina there, and she said that she was flying in.
It's like one of the biggest names in coaching. You're just like casually dropping. Like, I just randomly, just the other day, Staley and I were chatting it up. No big deal. Sorry, go ahead. I thought that was funny.
No, but she was just saying how she was flying. So she flew in yesterday and was on a red eye the same day after because she had preseason workouts. But I think that just shows how much Dawn is pouring into her girls. But Leticia, she's been doing so well for the team. She can play on both ends of the floor. And then we have Kayla Thornton. She has been just hooping this year. Probably kind of our go-to, an extreme two-way player as well.
I was going to ask, sorry to interrupt, but is it safe to say that Thornton's like the best player on the Valkyries? Is like, if there's going to be an all-star, I don't know if there will be, but would she be it?
She was kind of like the player that was most in consideration for an all-star appearance. Yes. Yeah. So she's been,
awesome.
She's been playing really well. No injury update as of right now. She left the game yesterday because it looked like she was holding the back of her neck after a collision, and she did not return. That was the extent of our knowledge there, but it also, when she didn't return, the Valkyries were blowing out the Storm as well. So there's kind of that factor as well.
And you brought up Dawn Staley. Sorry to go back to that for a second, but Bruce Morrow brings her name up as well because she was just in the news, reportedly interviewed for the Knicks head coaching position. She'd be the first woman in NBA history to be a head coach, not the first to be considered. Becky Hammon was under consideration for some jobs as well, but I don't think you get a lot of negativity with a decision like that. I also don't know if that's realistic, but her name that didn't come up, did it, when you ran into Coach Staley?
No, I didn't want to mention it.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a bunch of cameras around. I'm sure she wouldn't have. Obviously, you have to hold your cards close to your chest.
Nice to meet you. So, are you going to accept that Knicks job?
Yeah, that just would have been inappropriate of me.
Right.
But I honestly could have really had seen if the Knicks were asking everyone and casting a very large, wide net. I 100% think that Dawn Staley deserved to be in that consideration. I mean, she's done so much for South Carolina women's basketball. And I mean, she has literally the trademark, like Dawn's daycare about her team, because she's just like embodies that like coach, but also kind of, I guess, mother figure a little bit as well. But her basketball mind is second to none, and she played at a very high level as well, which I think is something that's underrated in some coaches. So I don't think it was all smoke personally. I've been seeing some reports today that I think that Mike Brown has been in consideration and he's going in for a second interview, which is more, I think, that we've heard from more than what we've heard on the Dawn Staley situation. You're on mute.
Sorry, I've been doing this twice now. I've done that. I was interviewed recently on Sirius XM's NBA channel, the Mad Dog channel, whatever that is. I was on one of the shows there, and JT the Brick was the host, and he was asking me about Mike Brown because he's a huge Knicks fan, and apparently the folks in New York are not thrilled about that news. And what I was trying to do is reassure him. They wanted a bigger name. I think the Knicks were hoping for someone with championship pedigree, even though Mike Brown does have that, but as an assistant, not as a head coach. But what I was trying to tell JT on this program is Mike Brown would be an awesome decision. I actually think if Mike Brown ends up being the head coach of the Knicks, that will bode well for him. I'm never going to pretend that being fired as the Kings head coach is necessarily going to reflect on you as a coach in general. Oftentimes politics plays a part in these decisions. Anyways, and me personally, what I know about what Mike Brown was doing with the Warriors, workaholic kind of guy who sleeps on his couch in his office instead of going home. Like his mind is literally, something tells me if you sawed his head open, gross metaphor, please roll with me on this, and you looked at his brain, you'd actually pull out a basketball. He's so obsessed with the sport. And he's a brilliant mind at that. He also connects with the players. I think he's a great coach. I think if the Knicks end up doing that, that would be a fantastic decision for them. By the way, some more breaking news here. Not big news, but it is a free agent signing, and this has some impact on our program because we brought DeAnthony Melton's name up earlier, and he was connected to the Lakers very loosely. But the Lakers have just signed Jake LaRavia, who played for the Sacramento Kings last year, and they're giving him a 2-year, $12 million deal. If you're like me, desperately wanting DeAnthony Melton back on the Golden State Warriors, this is fantastic news, because what this means is that the Lakers have just committed at least a part of their mid-level exception, and they're using the big one, the $14 million one, on Jake LaRavia. So that's if the salary is eked out evenly each season, meaning 6 and 6 for that $12 million. Excuse me, I'm trying to clear out my throat here. I think the Warriors, that just increases their hopes and chances of signing a player like DeAnthony Melton. That is money that is now reduced in terms of how much you can spend if you're on the Lakers side. So Jake LaRavia, I have virtually no opinion on him. I don't think his signing would make your team that much better nor worse. He played for the Kings last year. I don't know if you had a chance to watch him there. Any thoughts on that?
His signing doesn't move me a ton for the Lakers, but it does, like you mentioned, potentially cut off an opportunity for a landing spot of DeAnthony Melton.
Yes, miss. That's where my mind is at. So Jake LaRavia is eating up some cap space from the Los Angeles Lakers. Some late breaking news there. Going back to the Valkyrie, what were we talking about a second ago? I apologize.
You know what? I was going through the roster.
Go ahead. I started to interrupt. Please
No.
proceed. Okay.
So I'll just rapid fire. So
you don't have to. Okay.
Oh, so Steph Talbot, who been doing a great job, just kind of being like a glue IQ piece. Tammy Fagbenle, she was back last game. She was competing with the United Kingdom in Eurobasket. Fun fact about Tammy: in 2 years, I think 2027, she is going to be making her acting debut, and she's going to be playing, I think, a small role in the movie Children of Blood and Bone, I believe it's called. But
okay.
the cast is like Viola Davis, like Idris Elba, so it's like definitely stacked. But she has a very interesting story and comes from a very how do I say, like she has a couple siblings that have been in like the Hollywood industry. So I actually recommend going and just kind of reading about her story a little bit.
All right. Good stuff.
Tiffany Hayes, she's been great. She's been playing with a mask on because of a nose injury. Sorry, the Love Island update.
We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. Sorry for the distraction.
Kate Martin, who I actually have great chats about Love Island with. Kate Martin, she's been I can really see where Kate's confidence has been developing this season. I think in Las Vegas, she was kind of more of like a 3-and-D player, but I'm seeing her put the ball on the ground and finish at the rim, finish with a turnaround jumper, just scoring at 3 levels a lot more consistently every single game. So been loving seeing that from her. Veronica Burton has been great, such a just important two-way player.
Do you know anything about what KS is writing here?
Yes. So the writer for the book for Tammy's movie was Tammy's classmate at Harvard. Wow. So that's how they knew each other, and that's kind of how it started. I believe they were in the same theater class. Cool. In the article on Anscape I read.
Cool.
Yeah, and then last two spots, Cecilia Zandolazini, coming back from competing with the Italian team at Eurobasket. She was first team there. Italy finished third place, and I think this was Italy's first time at making the podium at Eurobasket in roughly 30 years, I've read. So she played a huge part in that. She's a career above 40% three-point shooter, so she will definitely help just with her three-point shot. I mean, everyone needs a shooter. And then Monique Billings is our last roster spot, and she's just been incredible for the team. She does so many of the little things, scoring, defense, setting great screens, and rolling and popping. I really could not say enough about how important Monique Billings is for this team, and kind of that the attitude that she presents is really the thing that the whole team has embraced as well. Just such a hard worker. I actually, me and Monique, Mo, nickname, me and Mo have the same trainer, Stan Remy, back in Miami. And so when I talked to him about her, he said that she is the hardest worker in the women's level that he's ever been around. And she does everything at game speed. That's why it translates. And she's always in peak condition and shape, which I think is huge, especially for a forward. So that kind of makes up the 12-man roster as of right now. There's been a little bit of movement today, but I think this is a good look of what we're going to get for the rest of the season.
Beautiful. So we're starting to get some settling here, and again, sometimes it's awesome seeing players make the best of their opportunities. Whether those opportunities come because of injury, like Draymond Green, for example. It took David Lee's injury for him to step into the starting role, and he never looked back. Sometimes you need an international tournament to draw some players away and give you a shot. So there you go. And a lot of great information you provided there for your Golden State Valkyries, who again are currently 9-7. We reconvene every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. And the schedule for the Valkyries between now and then, I know you mentioned that, what's the name of that tournament again? The Champions Cup?
The Commissioner's Cup.
Commissioner's Cup, forgive me, is coming up. Does that reflect on the schedule? Like, because I'm looking at the Valk schedule right now, and it shows they have just one game coming up, and that's at Minnesota Saturday, July 8th, which is, I don't think that's even this Saturday. I think that's next Saturday.
I think it's the 5th. It's our next game is at Minnesota, right. But I'm sorry. Saturday, it's the 5th. Yeah.
So is that the next game, or are there Commissioner's Cup games in between, or is that part of the Commissioner's Cup? Help me out, please.
No, so the Commissioner's Cup championship game will be played tomorrow. It'll be between the Minnesota Lynx and the Indiana Fever. And there's no games today and no games Wednesday. And that's the only game Tuesday because of it. So the Valkyries kind of also just got a little bit lucky with their schedule in that they get this period of rest, but also just after Eurobasket, some of the players can have more time to get reintegrated into the team.
There you go. And okay, so I think I'm getting the picture now. The Commissioner's Cup started with games earlier, and we're now at the final part of it. So they bring it in and out of the schedule, kind of like what the NBA does with their in-season tournament, where
the Commissioner's Cup was every team played 6 straight games in their own conference. And then they just took the best record from the Eastern Conference and the best record from the Western Conference and have that be the final.
Gotcha. There you go. Okay. So for the Valkyries, this is a few days off, and then they resume play on July 5th, which is going to be Saturday. Happy 4th of July, everybody, in advance. I love the fact that it's on a Friday this year. Good stuff. It means the celebration is going to be a little wilder and funner. Is that a word? More fun. Did you hear the news, by the way, that the WNBA is expanding? And that expansion is starting to become rapid. One formula that I'm noticing with their expansion decisions in terms of the cities they select, they're going with communities that already have an NBA team. I think what they're looking at is the Valkyries and how the immediate success that they've enjoyed in just their first season. I don't think they should ignore the fact that the Golden State Warriors organization as a whole is very stable, and I think that's playing a huge part in this. It isn't just the fact that it was the Warriors having a hand in this. Nonetheless, I noticed that Cleveland, I think, is getting an expansion team. Do you have more information on that? I think they announced 3 new cities, correct?
Yeah, so the 3 cities that they announced today are Cleveland, Philadelphia, and Detroit.
There you go. Any thoughts on that? I mean, I love the cities themselves. Some blue collar type towns. They love their hoops. Any thoughts from your perspective?
I do think that those are all kind of areas that have roots with women's basketball 100%. I think about Philadelphia and like that basketball community and just sports community in general. And then Detroit. Some more breaking news here on ESPN by Shams. D'Angelo Russell agrees to a 2-year, $13 million deal with the Mavericks.
Did not have that on my radar. So that is their short-term fill while Kyrie Irving recovers. Is that the fair way to look at that?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a good fit, actually, because I was thinking about him and wondering like who's going to pay him, who's going to add him, and it's the Mavericks. The Mavericks are going to be good next year. I'm very annoyed that they made the worst trade, one of the worst trades in NBA history, and got rewarded for that. That doesn't sit right with me. I don't think it sits right with a lot of people, but what are you going to do? So that's crazy. So D'Lo to the Mavs. Again, if you're a Warriors fan, I don't think that's any news to worry about. Look, it's D'Lo. Don't mean to be disrespectful. I just trying to be a little pragmatic here. Bay Area baller, Eric, great to see you. If that's you, saying, who are the best potential options for the Warriors? And again, the Warriors are in a I don't know if unique is the right word, but they don't have as much need, I think, as other teams. And what I mean by that is their roster going into the offseason was already fairly set, at least with 9 players under contract. You now have 2 second-round picks, which potentially make roster spaces 10 and 11 filled. So you're really just worrying about 3 roster spots. And Taron Armstrong, side note, I read a report, I think, from Dalton Johnson that he put on 17 pounds of muscle this offseason. That is great news. Think about 17 pounds. That's the equivalent of 2 8-pound weights that you're picking up simultaneously. That is a lot of weight to be putting on a body that is just muscle. Good sign. That's a good sign. That's good news. And Taron Armstrong is not even on the roster. I think he's currently a 2-way player that they could convert. My point is the Warriors roster for the most part is filled. They're trying to finish out those last 3 spots, if you will. And maybe that's really just 2 spots because I've not even included Kuminga in these equations. So if you re-sign Kuminga as expected, that makes 12 of your 14 roster spots filled. So all they're really looking at is trying to fill 2 more spaces here. Who are the best potential options? I've said his name like 5 times this show already, and I'll repeat it again. DeAnthony Melton. I want him back for a myriad of reasons, but for no other. Kerr trusts him. Kerr likes him. Kerr will not only play him, but probably start him over Brandon Podziemski, which I think is a better move for your roster. He played and looked exceptional in a Warriors uniform last year. So he is on my personal wish list. I don't know if the Warriors can afford him. I would love him back. And then the other piece would be a Brook Lopez, Al Horford, something like that. And I wouldn't mind that, but we got to be realistic here as well in terms of the limitations of the salary cap and how much money the Warriors can spend. But that's my wish list right now. Is re-sign Kuminga, DeAnthony Melton, Brook Lopez, great. If it's Al Horford, great. Some sort of veteran stretch 5 that can mentor and give tutelage to Quentin Post as well, a fellow stretch 5. He's going to come back to the Warriors this year. I don't know, by the way, Sophia, if you have any opinion on this, but Quentin Post is not going to be playing for the Warriors in the Summer League this year. And normally a second-year player would be a part of that routine. So I don't know if the Warriors are just granting grace because he's an international player and it would be a pain in the ass for him to come back from his home country. What is it? The Netherlands? Is that where he's from? Yeah. To come all the way here and play for a couple weeks and go back. I don't know what the thinking was in that decision, but he's not going to be playing in Summer League. Will be coming back for the team. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, do you think that's even a big deal or anything? You don't have to have an opinion on that. It's a random tidbit of news, but.
Yeah, I don't think it's something to look too much into. Kind of like what you said, it really could have just been a matter of his international travel. Yeah. And I mean, if you think about it in the way of the Warriors have already seen what they needed to see from Quentin Post, now this is an opportunity for another roster spot to be opened up for someone that they might want to know a little bit more about. I think you're muted again.
My bad. That's the third time. Sorry. I'm not on fire in terms of the mute button. Forgive me. Aim assist, adding that Quentin Post is busy getting stronger for us. Yeah, I hope he's following the Taron Armstrong routine there. And the Warriors have a couple of Aussies potentially on the roster next season. Is there any last minute news before we go as we start to wrap it up here? Let's see. Jake LaRavia, that is not anything new. I saw someone in the chat say there was a trade, and I'm trying to find right now. Oh, here we go. Okay, so, oh, wow. This was a big trade, if this is true. Couple of news items dropping here. So the Denver Nuggets, is this real? I just want to make sure this is. Are you seeing this as well?
I'm trying to. Oh yeah, I think it is. I think if we're looking at the same one, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to say it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me make sure this is real too.
I know, right? Because it's
yeah.
a big one. It's a big one. Doesn't have that much to do with the Warriors other than their opposition.
Yeah. The Nuggets are trading Michael Porter Jr. and an unprotected 2032 first-round pick to the Brooklyn Nets for Cam Johnson.
Interesting. I mean, congrats to Denver for getting out of that contract.
Yeah.
Cam Johnson's an interesting one. I almost feel like that is an even trade, pretty much, right? Would you think so? No?
I would.
Is one player better?
I think it's maybe a little bit better for the Nuggets. I just think of Michael Porter Jr. and Cam Thomas on the same team in Brooklyn.
Dude, the Nets are a mess, and yet Jonathan Kuminga is praying that they offer him a big deal. So, good luck, young man. I hope that happens to you. Yeah, that's a Bruce Morrow, I think, providing an astute analysis here, saying 2 injury-prone players getting traded for each other. And for anyone who still thinks Cam Johnson to the Warriors would be a good idea, friendly reminder, again, that the reason why at least I've personally poo-pooed that idea countlessly is not necessarily because of Cam Johnson's talents. It's much more so because he played for Steve Kerr in the 2023 FIBA Cup and was out of the rotation by the end. He was getting just random spot minutes. I think he played 7 minutes in the medal game. Point is, if Steve Kerr doesn't find value in him in a FIBA Cup tournament, like, why would he play him on the Warriors? So anyways, and he's injury prone. He's turning 30 this year. So big trade for the Nuggets. And I think there's one more piece of information too before we go. Is that correct? I think there's one more news item. I don't know if it's a trade. I just saw something here. Hold on. Before we go, that was somewhat interesting. Forgive me for all the coughing. Here it is. What's up?
Your boy.
Yeah, my boy. Exactly. Go for it. Report it. You've been doing a killer job reporting these signings. What is the next piece of information to report?
Ty Jerome has agreed to a 3-year, $28 million deal with the Memphis Grizzlies.
That's very interesting. So there you go. Ty Jerome is now a member of the Memphis Grizzlies. 3 years, $28 million. So that comes, what is that, $9+ million per year? Good for him. Congratulations to Ty Jerome. I mean, bravo. You went from being a two-way player to getting a contract that's paying you nearly $10 million a season. That's impressive. Bravo. And on the Warriors side, nothing. We're just still waiting. Oh, another small piece of information. Trey Jones is returning to the Chicago Bulls. He signs a 3-year, $24 million contract there. The Memphis Grizzlies are re-signing Pat Spencer's brother, Cam Spencer, to a 2-year, $4.5 million fully guaranteed contract. So I think that's everything. Let me check one more time before we go, see if there's any other signings. Oh, here's another one. Sophia, this one has some impact, maybe not on you, but on your dad. Dennis Schroeder is now a member of the Sacramento Kings. Any thoughts there? I mean, they got their point guard. I know they wanted a point guard because they didn't have a natural one this last season. What do you think?
It was interesting because When Dennis Schroeder was with the Nets before the Warriors, he was hooping. When he was with the Pistons after the Warriors, he was doing solid. So could be a good situation.
He can play. Look, he can play defense. He's a great ball
Yeah.
handler, hit or miss shooting wise. I don't know if you can say he's consistent there, but I would never hate adding him. Like he's a good player. And look, he fills a position of need for the Kings because Malik Beasley, I believe, was the only quote unquote point guard on the roster, at least of any significance. So there you go.
Yeah.
Anything else? I wanted to address real fast here. Hold on a second here. Where is it? Real Easy had a name that he wanted me to touch on, and I just want to answer that real fast. I forgot to star it. Forgive me for that. I can't find it now. Real fast. Damian LaRoche, going back to something that was brought up 30 minutes ago. Any Love Island updates? I have not had a chance to watch it yet. I will. I promise. It's on the agenda. Yeah. Take it away. Anything happening in Love Island?
Stuff is always happening in Love Island. I would also clarify. We're talking about Love Island USA right now. My credentials, I've watched pretty much every single season except this recent one of Love Island UK. I watched last season of Love Island USA, so I know what the formula is. This is the most calculated group of Islanders I've ever seen in my life. Amaya and Zach, my winners, they're taking it. That's why I want to win. No one else is giving like they're giving. That's just my opinion. But favorite person, Amaya. Amaya Papaya is going to win it all. That's her nickname.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for the update. I can't wait to actually talk with you about the show when I start watching it. I might. I feel like that's one of those shows that's really good to watch with a partner.
You know, because I've been trying to get my boyfriend to watch it for forever, and he finally agreed this year. So we've been having our fun debriefs and chats. So and of course, like I mentioned earlier, I talked to Kate Martin about it. When the Liberty were here, I was talking with John Cole Jones. But yeah, it's me and my when does it come out? At 6 p.m. Pacific time. Me and my boyfriend tuned in.
On Netflix, right? Is that where you find it?
Peacock,
I'm sorry. Okay,
yeah.
So 6 p.m. And something tells me again, as you mentioned there, I don't have any guy friends who watch the show, but some programs are very like are great for having some sort of partner in crime in life to watch with, right? And I feel like shows like The Bachelorette, for example, like they're just random programs. Again, this is entirely subjective. I could be 100% wrong on this, but my Love Island, at least I'm sniffing out, is the type of show that would be better if you had a partner in crime. My whole point is I'm going to bring it up with a lady friend of mine and see if that's something we should watch and maybe have a discussion about later. So Love Island, it's on my radar. The Real Eleazy adds two names here. Miles Turner. Look, I love where your head is at in terms of dreaming big. I would love Miles Turner too, but he's an unrestricted free agent if I'm correct here, and I think I am. He's going to be making a shitload of money, and very strong possibility is he's going to go back to the Indiana Pacers. He'll likely he'll likely command a contract paying him $25 million plus a year. He's just entirely out of the Warriors' budget. I also don't think. I don't know if the Pacers would be interested in a sign and trade scenario. I'm just saying, don't hold your breath on that. It's a great name. I'm not poo-pooing on the idea of Miles Turner to the Warriors. I just don't know how realistic it is. Now, Bruce Brown, on the other hand, unrestricted free agent. His value is low. I would love him on the Golden State Warriors. I'd be borderline celebrating if the news broke that Bruce Brown is a member of the Warriors. So I'm 100% with you on that. I hope it happens. I think the price would be in a ballpark that the Warriors can afford. Sign me up for Bruce Brown. Any thoughts on these two players, Sophia?
I'm going to agree with you. I feel like Miles Turner is a name that has been floating around for so long, and nothing has really gained traction, but Bruce Brown is a name that I wouldn't hate for the Warriors.
Same. I honestly think he would be borderline perfect. OMG, it's Manny dropping $4.99 again. Manny, great to see you again. He's been a quiet offseason, at least on this program. One of our long-term Golden Dazer is writing, I feel like the girls have a better connection with the other girls rather than the boys. And this is in reference to Love Island. Your thoughts, Sophia?
I'll do you one better. I feel like the guys have a better connection with the other guys and like the brotherhood than they do with the girls. I feel like some of the guys are there just for vacation and to have fun and just be a couple of fools as opposed to finding connections. Oh, that's me though. I'm excited to see more of the Casa Amor guys just integrate. This is language you're not understanding, but like regardless of what's happening right now, it's still gonna be Maya for the win for me.
There you go. And sorry to shift away from Love Island for a second here, but the Bruce Brown, all that energy, all that emotional investment put into just the idea of him being a member of the Golden State Warriors. Of course, that dream has collapsed, and the cloud that I was floating on went poof, and I'm free falling back to earth now. Bruce Brown has returned to the Denver Nuggets. So kudos to the Nuggets for a smart move there. And bummer that he is now off the table for the Golden State Warriors. So the Nuggets making some moves. Kevin Porter Jr., a player that was nearly out of the NBA just a year ago, he agreed to a 2-year, $11 million deal to come back to the Milwaukee Bucks. So not a huge move, but some names dropping there. So it's coming in like, and this is going to be happening throughout the day. You're going to be seeing a lot of signings made official. And again, who knows if you're going to hear anything about the Warriors. News. What's up?
We have news.
Go for it.
Kevon Looney has agreed to a 2-year, $16 million deal with the New Orleans Pelicans.
Wow. That's a bomb. That's a mega bomb he just dropped. And I know it's not a bomb in terms of like actual impact. He was out of the rotation at times, but I mean, this was a Warriors lifer we're talking about here. This was, oh my God, Sophia. Wow. Hold on a second. I got to process this one. To the Pelicans. $8 million a year.
To get more money at the Pelicans.
Yeah. $8 million a year. Is that the amount?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the Warriors are screwed. God damn it. That's the vibe I'm getting right now. Is the Warriors are screwed because if Kevon Looney is getting $8 million a year, now granted, Dumars is one of the worst front office people. Sorry to be so harsh, but I mean, this is a guy who picked Darko Milicic over Carmelo Anthony. I mean, that's Joe Dumars. And look, I know he also has a ring under his belt, but he's made so many quizzical decisions. And $8 million a year for Kevon Looney, you could argue, is a lot. But if that's the market, dude, the Warriors are in trouble.
But that's also someone the Warriors wouldn't really have to worry about re-signing as well, which could potentially open up more space.
That's true. Yeah. Maybe.
That's just a tough one because he is a Warriors lifer.
That's one of those where the emotion, this is where it gets your cuckles a little bit, like the emotional connection. Oh man, so Looney's going to New Orleans. Congrats to him for getting paid. That's impressive. $8 million a year. Bravo to him. That's crazy. Wow,
that caught me off guard. I was ready to wrap it up.
Yes, I'm checking to see if there's any good like music that's like kind of depressing. We're not going to play. We're not playing 50 Cent. No. Some good. Yeah. Bye, Kevon. Oh, can't believe that happens. Yeah. Some slightly depressing music. Let's roll this for a bit. Kevon Looney, a guest of this program a year ago when I was with the other place. But Kevon, that's rough. That is rough. That's a tough one. I mean,
that's a tough one.
Yeah, and look, logically speaking, it's not a big deal. It's really, it's not like Kevon Looney was not going to be the difference in terms of the Warriors winning the championship. But he was the starting center for the last one, and he was Mr. Stay Ready. He was an inspiration for guys like Moses Moody, who constantly just forced to stay ready. Kevon Looney mastered that.
Yeah, That's one of those where hopefully the Warriors knew what they were doing, letting him go to bring someone back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And look, I know this is a little insensitive to say this. I'm not going to. All I'm trying to say here is, I don't forget it. So that's it was nothing that was going to contribute value. So never mind. God damn.
Both the teams are just getting like, oh my gosh, I can't take this. Like with the Valkyries, I've talked to so many of these girls, had chats. Now they're gone. Now Kevon Looney's gone. Tough business.
Good thing we have the Valkyries, right?
I know. I need to go watch some highlights now. That's what I need to do. Because Love Island tonight is probably going to stress me out too.
I gotta get on this Love Island tip. I'm gonna talk to the lady friend tonight and see if she's interested in it, and if she is, I think that'll be her show. We'll try it out. Kevon Looney. Well, what are you gonna do?
Sign someone better.
That was some earth-shaking news there, Sophia. That was a big one.
I know that one caught me off guard.
Yeah. Just that was like a reality check. Oh well, this is another piece of news that's a positive.
Oh yes, let's do that.
And and again, I've been seeing this guy's name a lot lately, and I've never heard of him. I've never seen him in the media section. I have no idea how much smoke this guy is puffing and how much of what he writes is true. But Brett Siegel on Twitter, and I think he's with Clutch Points, is reporting. Let me share the screen so y'all can see what I'm talking about here, because this will certainly cushion the blow a little bit of losing Kevon Looney. Brett Siegel of Clutch Points is reporting that the Warriors, and he has sources, folks. He right there says sources, so it must be true. I'm kidding. But Brett Siegel sources are saying the Warriors are locked in on getting to an agreement with Al Horford after losing Kevon Looney. That'll make life better if you're a Warriors fan, right?
I think so. Yeah, actually. I mean, Kevon Looney is younger, but in terms of the mobility of both players, I think it's kind of both equal. Al Horford can stretch the floor more. He's an NBA champion. I've never had any qualms about Al Horford, and I guess now that we are losing Looney, I wouldn't be too upset about it.
Yeah, it would definitely make it would be easier to move on. Sorry, it's Manny for the music cutting out the audio there. I turned it off. We needed something to some sort of music to capture the mood of losing our boy Kevon Looney. That's crazy. So we shall see what happens in terms of upcoming decisions. I saw something in the chat related to Mark Spears of ESPN, a former guest of the program, who writes, according to the person in the chat, Mark Spears is reporting that that the Warriors and Jonathan Kuminga are close to an agreement, but I want to see that for myself before we go. Let me see if I can find Mark Spears' Twitter account, unless he said that on a broadcast, in which case there won't be a tweet about it. I'm
not seeing anything from his Twitter, so
okay,
I did see him on NBA Today in the free agency special. So
there you go. That's probably what it is then. Okay, so that's because a couple people in the chat right now, the Jan Tarto is saying that the Warriors, according to Mark Spears, feel optimistic about bringing Jonathan Kuminga back. Another thing, I guess I'll finish on this note. I just hope the Warriors just, God, dude, I'm officially, my mind's a mess. I'm processing. Losing Kevon Looney was a bomb. I don't know how to. I need some time to kind of just let that sit.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so
Yeah.
right now the Warriors are losing players. They're not adding players. Not a good sign. But we got some reports saying that maybe Al Horford's going to come to the Warriors. I don't know why the Celtics would let him go. But that's where we're at. Anything else that you see, Sophia, before we go? Because I feel like we'll be here all day. If
I know.
Oh, wait, I got another signing.
Where?
This is courtesy of Legion Hoops with breaking news. I don't know what they're basing this on, but Luke Cornett, he was with the Celtics last year. Is that correct? I think he was. He's joining the San Antonio Spurs on a 4-year, $41 million deal. So all these mid-level exception dollars are getting used up right now. So you're seeing a lot of signings in that 5, 10, 15 million range, which is what teams can use. Anyway, so and multiple people are now confirming the report that Mark Spears said originally about Jonathan Kuminga, that it's likely he's going to re-sign with the Warriors. We shall see. I would agree with that sentiment, though, too. I just don't see where he can go. I really don't. I don't see what the avenue is. So anyways, anything else? Are we done, Sophia? Anything you want to add?
I think we're done at this point. I think, it's always just positive to look at the Valkyries. That's just where I'm headed with
Yeah, it's absolutely. A couple in the chat. One thing I forgot to address real fast. Joshua Dave Labrador is asking, can the Warriors get Kel'el Ware from the Miami Heat? Every indication is that the Heat do not want to let this guy go. Like they value him tremendously. I'm sure the Warriors would ask for him in a sign and trade, but I don't know if the Heat would give him up. But I wouldn't hate it. I also just don't know enough about the kid to give you a strong opinion either way. Like, do you, Sophia? Like, are you well versed on Kel'el Ware, and did you watch enough Miami Heat games this year to feel one way or another about him?
I don't think that that's an even trade. I think you would have to add more things in the package. With Kel'el Ware for Jonathan Kuminga. I once again want to push the agenda that Bam Adebayo should come to the Warriors.
Yes.
And Asia Wilson should come to the Valkyries.
And
we can have the Golden State family.
I love it. I love it. And something tells me Miami does not like your idea, but I do. I love it. Bam Adebayo, come to the Warriors, please. I would absolutely love that. So there we go. And again, people can catch all of your broadcasts during every Valkyries game. You're on 95.7 The Game. You're on the Odyssey streaming app. You also do a post-game show after every Valkyries game with Kevin Dana that people can catch live. Good stuff. Anything else that we should be promoting here? Because the Valkyries next play Saturday. So we're only going to have one game to analyze when we see you again next week. But when we see you next week, it's also going to be a much different landscape in the NBA. You're going to see even more movement than what we just saw now. So we'll be back at this soon. And obviously, when we get news about the Warriors, we'll in terms of anybody they sign, we'll go live and talk about that. But right now, here's another one. Clint Capella. What are the this is crazy. I don't know what you feel about this. If this is true, Clint Capella is going to the Rockets. Don't they have enough centers? Like the Rockets are adding Clint Capella for a 3-year, $21.5 million contract. How many centers do you need? Isn't that like 4 for them? Like you have Alperen Şengün. I know Jabari Smith doesn't play center often, but he'd be a center for the Warriors. You got Steven Adams. Now you got Clint Capella. That's pretty wild.
That's very interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah. Leo G and Carlos just asking about Looney on the Pelicans. I'm guessing you came in late because I'm still speechless about that. It's just it's a lot to take in. Goodbye Looney. That's crazy. So that's what this show's turned into. It's the Go Valks and Adios Looney episode. There we go. So Palmetto Money bringing up Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, look, Brian Windhorst. I don't know. He has been mentioning the Warriors, linking them with Giannis for a little while now, but we shall see. Are we done, Sophia? Is that it? Any more signings?
Not that I've seen. No. Yeah, I'm just
All right, let me do one more check before we go. I want to get as many of these as we can in before I hit the close. Now, Brett Siegel is one thing. When Omjuchek, I don't know, I butchered his name. Please forgive me for that. If he's reporting it, I'm suddenly giving a lot more credence to the information. He's reporting, and again, is the beat reporter covering the Golden State Warriors for ESPN. He's reporting that the Warriors are the front runners to acquire Al Horford. That's wild. Al Horford would be a great pickup. Like, I am not going to hate on that. I think that would be a fantastic addition to this team. He's durable. He doesn't miss time. He can hit the three. He's a menace inside. Just ask every team who played the Celtics how massively big of a pain in the ass Al Horford is. So if he ends up being a Warriors center, I'm happy. I don't care how old he is. I think he can contribute. So there you go. We'll see. I know he's old, and I get I see the dinosaur comments in the chat, but
I honestly even think that it would be good for, like, having Al Horford on the team wouldn't be as crazy as some people think also, because they're, they say he is a veteran, he's up there, and not really explosive and can't move like he used to. But I think in some of these like Jimmy Butler centric minutes where he slows down the pace a lot, the NBA, I feel like, is shifting to be more interior dominant now again. So that could be a two-man game that could potentially look really good for the Warriors when the pace does slow down.
Absolutely. One other signing that we have here, Shams Charania is staying busy. Karis LeVert, 2 years, $29 million to sign with the Detroit Pistons. I'm going to take any news where good players stay in the East as good news. The West is so stacked as is. But at least from my news feed here, the Kevon Looney news is absolutely dominating the talking points for Dub Nation. That was a big one. That was a big one to learn today. $8 million a year for 2 years, so $16 million total to sign with the New Orleans Pelicans. So Kevon Looney's gone. Multiple reports that Al Horford is in the running to join the Warriors. Nothing official there yet. Multiple reports now stating that Jonathan Kuminga will likely come back to the Warriors. Nothing official there yet. This is a very fluid situation. We'll be back very soon. I promise you that. Because this is a fascinating time of year, and the Valkyries, bravo. Huge chef's kiss for them. I think we're done. Are we good, Sophia?
I think we're good. Leave it off on the note of the Valkyries is my go-to.
And when we reconvene next week, I might be knowledgeable about Love Island. We shall see. Thanks to the audience. Thanks, Sophia, as always, for the terrific work. You are phenomenal, miss. Bravo. Are we done? Are we good?
I think we're good.
Bye-bye, everyone. Have a great week.